Hello, my loves. So, for a very long time, we as a collective have been diving into the shadows and really like clearing up the past. Okay. And this was obviously to make space for the new and the true and all of who you are, giving that space to land. Now, this full moon that we had yesterday, as well as moving into Mercury retrograde tomorrow, there's been a lot of frustration coming up in the collective, connected to feeling frustrated with having done so much work and not seeing the full reflection of those results in the physical world. And I just wanted to honor that and acknowledge that this has been something that I'm witnessing and hearing about across the board, both in the twin flame counterpart collectives, but as well as even those residing outside of that collective or that initiation. And there's a few things that are occurring within this process. It does feel important to acknowledge that frustration. Our emotions are there to tell us that there's something not quite right and that it's time to make moves. And what I'm seeing on the other side of it is that actually, as we're opening up to the new and we're really starting to stabilize more in the new energies, it's actually bringing up some of the old residuals to be cleared out. Now, I know on a lot of levels it will feel the same, but for those of you that are resonating with this, I want you to drop in deeper, connect with yourself, and see if this feels true for you. In the past, it was like we were in that middle ground, really clearing out again to pave the path. Now it feels like we're in the new in the sense that we have more of a foundation. Yes, we're still stabilizing. Yes, we're still getting our sea legs and really learning how to work in that. But as a result of the new energies opening, as we're closing the old contracts and opening up to the new, it is sort of bringing up residuals to the surface. But it is different in the sense that we're more in the new and cleaning up the old versus before we couldn't really move into the new until it was built. Right. I've talked about this before. Like, you don't tear down your old house before the new house is built, right? You want to move into the new house before you clean out or tear down the old one. And we're in that mid process where we've moved into or are moving into the new home. But now we have to go back and sort of clean up and close out the old. Okay. So again, there is a bit of difference that I'm witnessing. I know that it may feel similar, but I absolutely do feel that we have pivoted to the other side with what I'm seeing. And one of the things that is coming through with my work, as many of you know, I've been very dedicated to that embodiment process of really learning and working and embodying all of who we are, you trusting yourself, calling in your higher self, strengthening your direct connection to Source and Mother Earth, and sort of working to thaw and clear and dissolve anything that was in the way of preventing a deeper embodiment. And of course, that will still be present and available when required. But I'm super excited because I am being guided to really bring a deeper focus to what we're bringing in and embodying in the new in a different way. And so, an example of this would be last week, I shared a recorded session about releasing restrictions. And through that process of releasing old restrictions, a new energy came through in the golden river of blessings, like receiving the golden river of blessings. And this is just how energy works, right? If you clear something out, you want to bring in something new. If you close an old timeline, you want to open up to a new one. If you close out a contract, you want to open a new one because we want to keep the energy cycle flowing, right? What goes in or comes out and what goes out comes in. And so part of how we can transform deeply is when, yes, we're closing out what we no longer want or what we've completed, but then also opening up new pathways, right? So the energy, the new energy, what it is that you're intending and wanting for yourself actually has a place to flow to you, hence the golden river of blessings. Okay. And I'm bringing that up because I do have an actual live in-person session, group session with me this Saturday, 11/8 at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, or on 11/11 at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. You're welcome to join one or both of those. Whenever I do sessions like this, there's always an evolution through the process, but I also trust if you feel guided to join, you will be in the group that you feel resonant and where you belong. But all of that is going to be in the pinned comment. If you have questions, feel free to ask. But I'm bringing this again deeper because it feels important. It's so important that we're looking at the clearing out and the bringing in simultaneously. Some of you who maybe do new moon or full moon intentions may notice this. I know that the more I became aware of energy and the more I really sat with things, it came to a point where I couldn't really ask for things to clear unless I had an intention of what I wanted to bring in. Just from an energetic standpoint, my system was like, okay, we can clear that out, but what do you want to replace it with, right? Because otherwise, what happens if we're only clearing and we're only detoxing and we're not bringing in new nutrients or new visions or new energy, you can start to feel depleted or exhausted or drained because the new isn't coming in, right? So you want to flush out the old, bring in the new flow, right? You want to keep the energy fresh, right? So as you're clearing out the stagnant, you're bringing in the new. And it feels that this is an important topic for what we're experiencing right now. So, a message that came in when we touched in on that frustration energy with the masculines a few days ago, I know a lot of feminines were also feeling frustrated, and that's why we're bringing this message full circle because it does feel very deeply that as a collective, we absolutely have done what we can do within the bandwidth that we were working in. And now we have been pushed to go to our next levels, which when you get pushed to your next levels, you may find what used to work is not working anymore. Doesn't mean it was wrong. It actually means your higher self, your soul, your higher guidance source is actually encouraging you and pushing you to look at new perspectives, learn new ways of being, or go deeper with what you've already been doing. And the beautiful thing about this, I get that it can be frustrating. But on the other hand, if you're asking to have the life that you've intended, right? Like all your potential. Of course, you're going to be continuously pushed to your next level, right? Because that is growth, right? And so the fact that you're being asked to level up, the fact that you're being asked to think in bigger perspectives, to pan out into the eagle eye perspective and even look at everything that you've been doing, even everything that has been working, and look at how you can build or grow upon it, right? Or in some cases, where is it time for just a reboot? And this is not something I'm telling you to do if everything's working for you. If it's working, keep rolling with it, right? Follow your guidance, keep working with what is working for you. But if you ever hit one of these pockets, Now you'll know, oh, okay, this is not that I'm doing something bad or wrong. I'm just being called to level up, to add more tools to my toolbox, right? And so this feels like where we are. And my sense is that probably you've already been working on some levels and layers of this. And so, for the part of the collective that is feeling that frustration, it's very much more than likely because you're ready for those new perspectives. You sort of extracted a majority of what you can from what you have been doing, and now you're ready to level up to the it's like graduating high school and going to college. If you just kept going to high school classes, you would get really bored and frustrated. It doesn't mean that we know everything there is to know. It means you're ready to level up, right? Okay. So this is just really dropping into remembering that growth is life. Life and living are about expansion and experience. And so, even when you're in the new energy and even when you're working deeply on yourself, there's going to be these pockets of frustration and discomfort. This is really important that you remember this isn't because you're doing it wrong. It feels really important that you remember that we are still humans having a human experience on this planet. And part of that experience, part of the growth is experiencing the discomfort. So even as we move into the new energies, the more and more we reside in the 5D, the more we learn how to temper and balance all of those beautiful things, the more we learn to love ourselves and embody unconditional love. This doesn't mean we're never going to experience discomfort or sadness or frustration or anger. Those experiences, those discomforts, again, are there to support our next levels of growth. Okay. And it feels important because I think sometimes we envision, oh, I get to the 5D or I get in sacred union and then everything is going to be perfect. And I feel like that is going to be a massive disappointment if you go into it in that way. The goal is to create more joy, more peace, more happiness. But even if you're all by yourself, hermited, and you feel peaceful, and you have your life exactly like you want it, there's still going to be a part of you that isn't fully satisfied because you're missing experiences with others. And do you get what I'm saying? It's about variety. It's about learning to be harmonious and tempered with whatever is present. Okay. And that's another thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about as you're feeling maybe frustrations with going through this process or this initiation. The reason that temperance is so important is yes, this initiation, this twin flame, divine love, sacred union initiation is meant to push you into those energies of learning unconditional love for yourself and another. It's also there to help you embody into your standards, learning your truth, holding yourself accountable, holding others accountable, right? Like embodying into more and more of who you are, embracing your own shadows and coming deeper into your own internal union. But each and every time you have an extreme experience of, say, love and hate, right? Or complete joy to complete sadness, or you're feeling happier and more peaceful within yourself, and then you witness something very unpeaceful or sad in the world. Those things are going to happen. But every single time you can honor your feeling and honor your experience, and then come back to your center and say, yes, I'm sad that that's happening in the world, but I can still remain peaceful within myself. I can honor that I'm experiencing and witnessing that without closing my heart down. But I'm simultaneously strong enough to not let it rock the stability of my own peaceful foundation. You can do both. And in fact, that's what temperance is. And it is a big, important piece and part of these initiations and why we have worked and went through this process, I believe. Because when you want to look at it and you want to understand the bigger purpose of this twin flame initiation, it's learning how to, again, be in this world, but not of it. It's learning how to temper and balance duality, the light and the dark, the masculine and the feminine, right? The hot and the cold, all of those extremes. When we can hold and temper within those, we can hold stability, a beautiful pillar of stability in a world that is attempting to process the polarization of those extremes. We're witnessing it everywhere we look. Okay. So when you can see the bigger purpose of why you chose this path, that yes, you want love and sacred union and a sacred partnership and true love in your life, stabilized, beautiful, dancing that sacred dance, embracing that divine destiny, right? But you're also in the process of going through that initiation and learning all of this so that you are embodying one of those stabilized pillar points, not only for yourself and your union, but for humanity. This is a part of that divine union purpose. It is significantly bigger than just a romantic partnership. Yes, that can be a very positive, beautiful, gorgeous result of this process. And I wish that for every single one of you who wants that. But remember, you also signed up for this process to support the planet, to support unity consciousness, to support actual embodiment on this planet of what we know we're capable of as a human species, right? Okay, I know this is getting probably intense a little bit, but it feels important. I thought about a few videos talking about these topics, but it feels like it all just kind of needs to be addressed right here because these are the things that we're dealing with. These are the thought processes, right? Because you're told to focus on yourself, and that's a very important part. And I still encourage you to focus back to yourself, stabilize yourself, find your peace, find your joy, find your happiness, and then also find ways to open your heart and remain stable. Find ways to connect with humanity and remain stable, right? There's not a specific way that this needs to be done. It's just really what feels aligned for you. Okay. And yes, sacred union partnership is a very beautiful, important part of this process. But again, it's not the only goal, right? We've heard so many times that there is a higher purpose for these initiations, for these experiences and connections. And yes, it's meant to inspire you to be the best version of yourself, to love yourself deeper, to let yourself be ready to receive that golden river of blessings that you have been working so intensely for, to receive the results of what you've been praying for and asking for and working towards, in allowing it the space and the grace to land. It might be swiftly, it might take time. You might start to notice pieces here and there, but it does feel important that you acknowledge the results that you have accomplished. Acknowledge those. And then in the places and spaces where you don't see the results that you want just yet, breathe into those. Create more space, right? Create another wave of energy around you in your aura, in your root chakra, in your earth star chakra. Create more space to get the results of what you want. And remember, when you're closing something out, unraveling, dissolving, clearing, that you're also opening a new space to receive the results of what you want in place of what you have been clearing out. Okay? All right, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to put that information, this sacred circle session coming up live with me. I will drop the releasing restrictions recorded session in the pin comments in case any of you want to check that out. And all my other information will be there. I would love to hear from you. I hope that you're doing well, and I will see you soon. Take care. Much love. Peace.